wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. I made my castle tall, I built up every wall. This is my kingdom and it needs to fall. I want you and no one else, empty me of myself, until the only thing that's left is my universe and me. Make me who I'm meant to be. You're all I need, you're everything. Take it all, I surrender, be my king. Gotta choose more of you and less of me. I need more of you. This life I hold so close, oh God, I let it go. I refuse to gain the world and lose my soul. So take it all, I abandon everything I am, you can have it. The only thing that I need is my universe and me. Make me who I'm meant to be. All I need, everything. Take it all, I surrender, be my king. Gotta choose deep inside of our bones, consuming me like a magnetic pole. It's supernatural, so supernatural, yeah. We came to blow it up, bring some speakers and some subs. If you down and ask what's up, you know we can't get enough. We have it, can't be bought. We do it, can't be taught. Put in our blood from up above. Yeah, we live for the drop.
Turned into a turtle. That's what you do. Eat him. Ah, it might not be.
We live for the drop. Yep, yep. Yeah, we live for the drop. Yeah, we live for the drop. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we live for the drop. Like a heartbeat, it keeps me going on. Like a remedy, it's something way beyond. Consuming me like a magnetic pole. It's uncontainable, so uncontainable. Yeah, we came to blow it up, bring some speakers and some subs. If you down and ask what's up, you know we can't get enough. We have it, can't be bought. We do it, can't be taught. Put in our blood from up above. Yeah, we live for the drop. Oh no, we can't stop. Come on, let the beat rock. You know, we live for the drop. Yep, yep. Yeah, we live for the drop. Yeah, we live for the drop.
Wow. Let's do it.
It might have started as 72, but it was 67 by the time it was cooked.
Yeah, we live for the
I helped pull it out of the hole. And the other guy kept getting yelled at because he would fill it with dirt because he wasn't listening. Yeah.
So let's get it now. Yep, yep. Yeah, we live for the drop. Yeah, we live for the drop. Yeah, yeah.
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Good? Good. Heather's doing phenomenal. She said she was phenomenal. I don't care what she said. She changed her mind? Okay. All right. All right. Heather was doing phenomenal. Now she's okay. Oh. Listen. This morning, I'm going to read a little bit in Psalm. It'd be Psalm 32. Blessed is the one whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man against whom the Lord counts no iniquity, and in whose spirit there is no deceit. For when I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My strength was dried up as by the heat of summer. I acknowledged my sin to you, and I did not cover my iniquity. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the iniquity of my sin. Selah. Man, how awesome. As we're getting ready to worship this morning, man, let's and just think about as we're singing and praising God. Think about that. Our sins are forgiven. Put our trust in Jesus, and we stand justified before God. I mean that. Yeah. To think on that, to sit and think on that. I mean, yeah. There's nothing we can do on our own. And to be able to stand and say that we have been forgiven, what an awesome thing that is. Yeah, let's pray. Let's pray. Father, and we come to you this morning thankful for your forgiveness. Thankful that we're able to stand and be, that we can enter into your presence as sons and daughters, not by any works of our own, but by the shed blood of Jesus. Lord, I pray that as we worship this morning, Lord, I hope our hearts are there. Lord, I pray that as we praise you this morning, that we just, Lord, it's thankfulness for the fact that we can come to you and is forgiven. Lord, we love you and we thank you. Amen. Now let's stand and pray and worship, praise.
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul? What wondrous love is this, oh my soul? What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to bear the dreadful curse for my soul, for my soul, to bear the dreadful curse for my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down beneath God's righteous frown, Christ laid aside his crown for my soul, for my soul. Christ laid aside his crown for my soul. And when from death I'm free, I sing on, I sing on. And when sing on, and through eternity I'll sing on. Oh, how high, oh, how wide, oh, how deep is your love. Oh, my soul set on fire by your wondrous love for us. Oh, how high, oh, how wide, oh, how deep is your love. Oh, my soul set on fire by your wondrous love for us. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul.
I'm welcoming for Will because he doesn't have a mic. So, in his words, he says, "Good morning, everybody," and and continue worshiping with us.
Who am I at the highest king would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the sun sets free, or with free. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Free at last he has ransomed me, oh his grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free, or is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. Who the Son
out of Ephesians 2. But God, being rich in mercy, because of great love with which He loved us, even when we were dead in our trespasses, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved, and raised us up with Him, and seated us with Him on the in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus. Pray with me. Heavenly Father, you've given us a name through Christ's work on the cross. We are chosen. We are saints in Christ. We thank you for that the comfort in that, and the reminder. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
In Christ alone, my hope is found. He is my light, my strength, my song. This cornerstone is solid ground, firm through the fiercest drought and storm. What heights of love, what depths of peace, when fears are still, when striving cease. My comforter, my all in all, here in the love of Christ I stand. In Christ alone, who took on flesh, fullness of God in helpless babe. This gift of love and righteousness, scorned by the ones He came to save. Tell on that Christ is Jesus died, the wrath of God was satisfied. For every sin on Him was laid, here in the death of Christ I live. There in the ground His body lay, light of the world by darkness slain, and bursting forth in glorious day, up from the grave He rose again. And as He stands in victory, since curse has lost its grip on me, and as He stands in victory, since curse has lost its grip on me, for I am His and He is mine, bought with the precious blood of Christ. No guilt in life, no fear in death. This is the power of Christ in me. From life's first cry to final breath, Jesus commands my destiny. No power of hell, no scheme of man can never pluck me from His hand. No power of hell, no scheme of man can ever pluck me from His hand. Till He returns or calls me home, here in the power of Christ I'll stand. Till
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for this beautiful morning and all these beautiful faces and all beautiful voices. It's good to hear your people praise you, Lord. So I ask that you let us continue. Accept our praises, Lord. Bless this church this morning. Help us to have open hearts and ears for your word, Lord. I pray this all in your holy name.
Before the throne of God above, I have a strong and perfect plea, a great high priest whose name is love, whoever lives and pleads for me. My name is graven on his hands, my name is written on his heart. I know that while in heaven he stands, no tongue can bid me thence depart. No tongue can bid me thence depart. When Satan tempts me to despair and tells me all the guilt within, upward I look and see him there, who made an end to all my sin. Because the sinner's Savior died, my sinful soul is counted free. For God the just is satisfied to look on him and pardon me, to look on him and pardon me. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise the one risen Son of God. Behold him there, the risen Lamb, my perfect spotless righteousness, the great unchangeable I am, the King of glory and of grace. One with himself I cannot die, my soul is purchased by his blood. My life is saved with Christ on high, with Christ my Savior and my God, with Christ my Savior and my God. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise the one risen Son of God. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Now let's pray. Father, thank you for sending your Son. For sending your Son and for him willingly to give up his spot in heaven and come down and walk amongst us to willingly give up his life on the cross for us so that we can have a promise and a hope so much more. And we cannot thank you enough. We stand here this morning in awe of that. And Lord, help us as we walk out of here today to continue let us not lose that awe. Yeah. Help us to keep that sense of awe, that gratefulness. Yeah, we love you. Thank you so much for what you've done. Amen. All right. First off, Connect cards, first impression surveys. If there's any of you that, maybe a couple, we have first impression surveys and Connect cards out in the foyer area on this big table right outside the main doors here. Fill one of those out. Connect card, just information, phone number, address. If you would like somebody from the church to connect with you, if you have any questions, what we're all about. Just fill one of those out, put it in the giving box and back, either one of the giving boxes, and somebody will get a hold of you. First impression surveys. Let us know what we're doing that you like. We could be doing anything better. Then we want to hear from you. So those are located on the big table right outside the doors here. Gospel communities. We're taking our summer break from those right now, but those will kick back off in the week following our block party, which is coming up on September 7th. We have 1, 2, 3 of those going right now. Is that correct? One that meet here on Wednesdays. One that meets in Trumbull on Sunday evenings, and another one that meets here in town on Sunday nights. The information for those are out on this big table out in the foyer area as well. I would encourage you, once we get rolling on those, and it's just a great way to stay connected, and dice up the sermon a little more and be able to just think and speak on that. It's good to be able to spend time throughout the week with each other too. So if you're not a part of one, I'd encourage you once they start back up to do that. Special announcements. Block party. That'll be coming up here September 7th. What is it, 6:30 to 9? 6 to 9? Okay, Dave's nodding his head. All right, those flyers are out here as well. And spread the word too. Let's invite friends, neighbors, co-workers. That'll be here at the church September 7th. And I don't know, do we have plans to do kind of the neighborhood canvas thing again coming up here? We do, okay. So be watching for that. It'll be a great time. What an opportunity to serve and hopefully minister to this neighborhood that we're in. September 7th. All right. Financial update. So, financial update. You can see last time up, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the last time it was updated was July 22nd. And I just want to thank you guys. This kind of give you a picture of, even though it's not current, you can see about where we're running in comparison to our family giving and our monthly expenses. And we are blessed to have some external support. But as time goes on, that's going to start to fade. So we really need to just be faithful in our giving, and we want to become a church that's self-supported so that we can start to support other plants as well. What that looks like as far as internal sustainability is 40 families or individuals giving $195 a month. And you can see that in the past couple months, in June, 26 family units had given, and July, 18 family units had given. Thank you very much for you guys' faithfulness in your giving. Church planning. So are these numbers as of July 22nd? Okay, so as of July 22nd, you can see to Acts 29 Network, we've given $350. Converge and the SBC, we both given $1,400. And Lee and Regina Block, missionaries we support in Brazil, have received $667. And ways to give. As I mentioned before, there's the giving boxes, one in the back table in the corner there, and again on the wall right here by the big doors. Give there, and you can also give online at thewellhastings.com/give. Right now, Kids Church, we're not doing Kids Church right now. It'll start back up in September as well. But we do have, my brain just left me. Nursery, thank you. Nursery. Going on downstairs, and that for kids, wee ones newborn to 4. So with that, I'm going to invite Joe up here. All right.
Well, good morning, everyone. Why don't we all stand, shake the little wiggled all the things out, and get wide awake for some good time today. We're continuing our series in the book of Psalms. Let's, as we stand together, let's just open up in a word of prayer and just ask God to bless this time, shall we? Father, I thank you for those that are here. I thank you, Father, for those that are traveling. Father, you'd keep them safe, that you'd bring them back safely to us. We just pray first right now, Lord, that you would impress us with your Spirit to learn and to submit and to listen to what your word has to share with us today. We thank you, Lord, for this family. We thank you that you bless us every day, and we want to praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. You can be seated. And I think the lights are bright enough so I can tell if some of you are going to sleep. I can throw something at you, but that's okay. We have people that are traveling. One of them, of course, is Pastor Joe. He's not here, and he will not be here next week as well. So he's in the middle of his sabbatical. He will be back 2 weeks from today. But I want to give you an update on Chris. Chris and Stephanie are not here this morning. And as you know, little Evan went in for his surgery last Tuesday on his heart. And he absolutely came out wonderfully. The doctor gave him 2 thumbs up, which is awesome. And they were supposed to come home tonight, but he was so good yesterday. And I have pictures on my phone if you want to see him. He's just a little tigger. He's so cute. But he is doing awesome. They came home yesterday. So they are actually home, and I'm sure taking a well-deserved breather from a tremendous, stressful and glorious week for them. So we just thank God for little Evan, right? I know you've been praying for him, and I ask that you continue to pray for him. Just performing a surgery on someone that small just always boggles my mind. And when I saw a picture of him when he first came out of surgery, his little tape over his little incision there in his heart, I mean, his heart just can't be that big, but the doctors fixed 3 holes that were in his heart, which are very common with Down syndrome babies. And so he's doing fine. So keep praying for him, though, because that little heart's working strong now. So with that, we are continuing our study in the book of Psalms. We're on Psalm 7 today. We're doing 10 Psalms a summer. So you figure it out. After the end of this summer, we'll have 140 of them left to go. That's only 14 years worth of preaching through Psalms in the summertime. It's worth it, though, but today, this one is, I find this one really unique. It might be a little bit similar to the one you heard last week, but it has some things in it I think are really, really, really super interesting for us as believers. But let's read that together this morning. Psalm 7 says, a Shiggaion, I guess is how you pronounce that in Hebrew, of David, which he sang to the Lord concerning the words of Cush, a Benjamite. Verse 1 says, O Lord my God, in you do I take refuge. Save me from all my pursuers and deliver me, lest like a lion they tear my soul apart, rending it in pieces with none to deliver. O Lord my God, I have done this. If there is wrong in my hands, if I have repaid my friend with evil, or plundered my enemy without cause, let the enemy pursue my soul and overtake it, and let him trample my life to the ground, and lay my glory in the dust. Selah. Arise, O Lord, in your anger. Lift yourself up against the fury of my enemies. Awake for me. You have appointed a judgment. Let the assembly of the peoples be gathered about you. Over it return on high. The Lord judges the peoples. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to the integrity that is in me. O let the evil of the wicked come to an end, and may you establish the righteous, you who test the minds and hearts, O righteous God. My soul is with God, or my shield is with God, who saves the upright in heart. God is a righteous judge, and a God who feels indignation every day. If a man does not repent, God will whet his sword. He has bent and readied his bow. He has prepared for him his deadly weapons, making his arrows fiery shafts. Behold, the wicked man conceives evil and is pregnant with mischief and gives birth to lies. He makes a pit, digging it out, and falls into the hole that he has made. His mischief returns upon his own head, and on his own skull his violence descends. But I will give to the Lord the thanks, the thanks due his righteousness, and I will sing praise to the name of the Lord, the Most High. Now may God bless his word this morning. That is an unbelievable psalm. And can you imagine, this is a song. David sang this song. I don't know how many of you listen to music that talks about the wicked and how they're going to be destroyed and how someday that will come to an end. That is an amazing thing to put into verse, to put into song. But David did that. And this Shiggaion thing that he talks about is kind of it's only used a couple times. It's like a song of triumph at one point. It's a song of deliverance at another, but it's also a song of complaint, of complaining. Now you think about life. What is life like for us? There are times when praising the Lord is really easy. There are times when it's not. There are times when things go well in life, and there are times when obviously they do not. And so in the ups and downs of life, this is exactly what David is doing in this psalm. He's way up here, and he's way down here, and he wants to get back to here, to real life. This psalm is a beautiful psalm. Now, David, if you were going to pick someone out of the Old Testament that was your favorite character, there'd be a number of maybe that would come to your mind. But I think David would probably come to some of your minds, to think about what a great king he was. You know, David was called a man after God's own heart. He was called a mighty warrior. He wrote dozens and dozens of psalms. He was king for 40 years. That's a long time to have a president, right? 40 years. And he was also in the bloodline of Christ. Now, if you look at the genealogy in Matthew chapter 1, you will see that from Abraham to David was 14 generations. From David to the captivity in Babylon was another 14 generations. And from the captivity to Jesus was another 14 generations. So you see God's working in a particular person, David, that through his bloodline, the Savior, the Messiah would come. Jesus would come. And yet, if David is your favorite character, then do you think that he lived a perfect life? I would think he'd say no, right? Have any of us lived a perfect life? David had a couple things in his memorabilia that were not too cool, right? One was the famous one that we all know so well. That's the sin with Bathsheba. The other was counting the population, counting the numbers in Israel, which was, according to God, was a big no-no. That, in other words, showed that he didn't trust God enough to do what he said he was going to do. Those two things mark David's life as an imperfect and yet a man after God's own heart. And so before we even get into the psalm, I think we could almost declare right now, if you ask the question of yourself, how can God use someone like me? Have you ever asked that of yourself? How can God use someone like me? We're not perfect. We screw up. We're still considered sinners saved by grace, right? Through the blood of Jesus Christ. So how can he use someone like me? Well, that's what he chooses to do. He takes imperfect people, people that are not quite yet what they're going to be, and uses them to accomplish something great for God. Now, David, I think, accomplished a lot for God. Did he know God? Of course he knew God. But this song of triumph, this song of deliverance, deliver me, O God, this complaint. In other words, how many times do you go to prayer and you're acknowledging God and you're saying in the very first verse, what does he say? It says, O Lord, my God, in you do I take refuge. Save me from all my pursuers and deliver me. He was being chased by Saul's men. Saul didn't like him very much. And yet he always supported the king. He never said that he was going to go against God's anointed. He did not do anything that was wrong in the sight of God or man at how he treated the king. And this man after him, though, was slandering him with words, was maybe even trying to hunt him down to kill him. Now that's a pretty serious thing. So every good sermon has 3 points. So the first point this morning is the innocent cry for justice and deliverance, and that's in the first 5 verses. Imagine putting yourself in this position that David was in, running from Saul, and now this guy Cush pursues him with a vengeance. But David's first verse is, I trust you, God. Right? I trust you, God. There's confidence in his word. Strange question to ask whether you thought David knew God. I think we would obviously think, yeah, David did know God. But with the ups and downs of life, it's as variable as the weather in Nebraska this week, right? It's been a pretty horrendous week. But there's confidence in David's word. Of course he believes in God. Of course he has an obvious answer. He says to himself, not in this verse, he doesn't say it here, but I can imagine him saying to himself, I shake with fear sometimes, but the rock never moves. And that's where his trust lies. So where do you run in the case of a tornado? Since we're living in tornado country. You don't run outside, right? You don't hop in your car and go chasing it. Well, you might if you're stupid like me. But you'd probably go to a basement, I would think, if you have one. You go to a safe place. You go to a safe room. You go to somewhere where you're going to find protection, right? To be safe from this horrible weather experience. But David found his protection being slandered and accused by many. He found his protection. He said, God, protect me. I trust you. Protect me. So you turn to him. And it's interesting, God is not just someone who can protect. He himself is actually protection. He is the one who puts everything around you to provide the protection that we need in the midst of this kind of slander and accusations that the world can bring against people. And we live in America, I know, and most cases, Christians are free to worship, to pray in most places, not in every place anymore. So we're not often subjected to persecution that the church history is full of. Someday it may come to that. Who knows? We're not guaranteed that this system of protection for believers will always take place. There could be a time when that doesn't happen. But Spurgeon is one of my favorite commentators, old guy from way back. And I'm going to use him about 2 or 3 times today in this message, because here's what he says about this when he's talking about David on the move. He says, "A father cannot be silent when a child is in such peril. It will be well for us to remember that this is a description of the danger to which the psalmist was exposed from slanderous tongues. Truly, this is not an overdrawn picture or an exaggerated picture. For the wounds of a sword will heal, but the wounds of the tongue cut deeper than the flesh and are not soon cured. If God was slandered in the Garden of Eden, we shall surely be maligned in the land of sinners." Think about that. If God was even maligned in a perfect environment of the Garden of Eden, we shall surely, he says, be maligned or spoken ill of in this land of sinners. That is an amazing, amazing phrase. So question, how do you remain confident? How do you remain self-controlled? How do you remain godly even when people lie about you? Even David, he didn't sit idly by. He wanted to disprove those lies. But ultimately, he had to trust in God to shield him. There are times, in those kind of times, if you've had those experiences in your life, there are those, you finally come to the end of it, you realize that in some cases you will never, ever solve the issue with what's being said. And ultimately, God is the one then that you turn to and find out that he is your shield and protector in the midst of that, right? You believe that? I do. Verse 3 through 5. "O Lord my God, if I have done this," I love this verse, "if there is wrong in my hands, if I have repaid my friend with evil or plundered my enemy without cause, let the enemy pursue my soul and overtake it, and let him trample my life to the ground and lay my glory in the dust." We can fool people, but we can never fool God. So David had to be sure, he had to know for sure that not only he knew, but that God knew that in this situation, in this incident that he was dealing with, he was 100% innocent. Now, how many times can we say that? We can't say that every time as incidents in our life come up, but in this one thing, David says, I was 100% innocent. And without that, he'd not be able to go on. In other words, he couldn't go on and make his complaint. He couldn't go on and demand and ask God to wake up so that he can solve this problem. He had to be absolutely sure between him and his God that he was innocent in this matter. He was not slandering. And he knows from experience what it's like. Who came to him, remember when the big thing with Bathsheba happened? Nathan came to him, right? The prophet. And how did David respond? He listened. And he tore his clothes and repented. So in times like that, he knew for sure the minute Nathan brought it up, he was not innocent. He was as guilty as sin. But in this case, he had to be absolutely sure to have peace with God about it. And maybe even sometimes, if you're going through this, sometimes a good friend can help you see if there's something that maybe you or I did in that situation that wasn't right. So he had to be absolutely sure. Spurgeon says again, and I love it, he says, "It is only at the tree laden with fruit that men throw stones." If we would live without being slandered, we must wait till we get to heaven. It will not stop until heavenly days. So David's claiming, he's in the courtroom, you ask David, how do you plea? He says, I plea not guilty. And I am not guilty. So he has to be completely sure. But concerning this one, he is sure. And that's why he ends. I love it when he ends this with that little tiny funny word, Selah. You always need to read that when you're reading a psalm, and he puts that in there, or the writer of the psalm puts that word in there. It's like a pause. It's like, take a minute, back up, think about what he just wrote in those first 5 verses. And he himself would have to do that very same thing, stand back and say, yeah, okay, this is where I am. If I have repaid anybody with evil, then let it come upon me. He stands back, thinks about it, he ponders it, and everything's fine. He can move on. So the second point of this is, that first one was the innocent cry for justice and deliverance. The next one is the innocent argues his case before the judge. And that takes up almost the entire rest of the psalm until you get to verse 17. So verse 6 through 16, I can't deal with every one of those verses today because of time, but God, in verse 6 and 7, David says, "Arise, O Lord, in your anger. Lift yourself up against the fury of my enemies. Awake for me. You have appointed a judgment. Let the assembly of the peoples be gathered about. Over it, return on high. Awake for me. You have appointed a judgment." How many times do you think God sleeps? Do you think God ever takes this big nap for 3 or 4 hours or 3 or 4 days and then wakes up and says, oh gosh, I forgot to do what I was going to do 3 days ago? Right? I don't think that's the way he works. So why does David have to say, wake up? Wake up, God, and deal with this situation. Because humanly speaking, that's exactly what goes on inside of us when we're under this kind of stress. God, are you listening? Wake up from your nap. I need some help. Of course, God never sleeps. He's bigger than lies. He's bigger than he is. Truth will always triumph with him. That might have been hard for David to believe at that time, that truth would definitely triumph over his enemies. And put it in our own hearts today. How many times do we wonder, is God really going to fix this situation? I need to scream at him, wake up. I need some help. And David, even a man after God's own heart, questions that sometimes. So be honest with yourself. I have to be honest with myself. We have to be honest that we don't always believe in the depths of our heart that God will fix this. It can take years sometimes to fix things. Where you begin to think sometimes, wow, I'm not sure this is ever going to happen. But God reminded David, as he wrote this, to believe it. We have to believe it. Verse 8 and 9 says, the Lord judges the peoples. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness. Whoops, sorry, my finger got crazy there. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to the integrity that is in me. Oh, let the evil of the wicked come to an end, and may you establish the righteous, you who test the minds and hearts, O righteous God. Listen to what he says. Judge me, O Lord. So he's willing to have God look at him, survey the situation, and judge whether he's done this right? He says, according to the integrity that is in me. Integrity is one of those things that everybody hopes to have as a characteristic of their life. Integrity brings honesty. Integrity brings truth. Integrity means that my reputation speaks for itself, that your reputation speaks for something, right? So David is bold enough to say, judge me. And judge me according to my integrity. My integrity in this situation, in this instance that I'm being accused of. Go ahead, open my heart, judge me. If I've done something wrong, then zap me, right? That's how he looks at God. He's really looking forward. In a sense, you can think David, of course, wouldn't necessarily know that through his bloodline would come the Messiah. He may have wondered about that. So his faith in God, he was saved the same way that you and I are. He was saved looking forward to what God was going to provide through a Messiah. He was saved by faith. He was saved just like Abraham was. Abraham believed God, and it was reckoned to him as righteousness. Did he accept Jesus as his personal Savior? Well, Jesus wasn't there yet. Jesus hadn't come and lived and died and rose again and ascended on high. That hadn't happened yet. But Abraham, looking forward to what God had said, believing what God had said, it was reckoned to him, Paul says, as righteousness. So David had to do the same thing. Faith had to be an important part of his life. 1 Peter 2 says this, 22 to 23. He committed no sin, Jesus, neither was deceit found in his mouth. When he was reviled, he did not revile in return. When he suffered, he did not threaten, but continued entrusting himself to him who judges justly. 1 Peter 2. Only Jesus was the only one. David couldn't. Abraham couldn't. The disciples could not. Peter, James, John, Paul, all of them could not save themselves, could not come to a point where they no longer had a problem with sin. They just could not do it. Only one who was sinless, who never sinned, could actually die for the people. And that's what Jesus did. So he was looking forward to that. The last section is really, I think, a really interesting section. I want to spend some time on this in verses 10 through 16, but particularly in verses 14 through 16. I'm going to read those again. I want you to think about this. He's talking now about evil men. Behold, the wicked man conceives evil and is pregnant with mischief and gives birth to lies. He makes a pit, digging it out, and falls into the hole that he has made. His mischief returns upon his head. He paints two pictures there. The first picture, of course, is pregnancy. What happens? That he is pregnant with mischief. I just think that's an amazing translation in the English Standard Version. He is pregnant with mischief. That means the evil man conceives in his heart, conceives in his very soul a way to destroy God's people. And one of the ways to destroy God's people is not necessarily to kill them, which is obviously something that Satan would love to do, but it's slander and accusations that can cause dramatic problems with people. We could spend an hour just on verse 14 alone about being pregnant with mischief. And yet, the hunter one in verses 15 to 16 is like a hunter who digs a pit and expects an animal to walk by it, fall in it, and become his prey. And yet he says what? His mischief returns upon his own head. I'm going to throw this phone in the garbage. It keeps doing this to me. He makes a pit, digging it out, and falls into the hole that he has made. His mischief returns upon his own head, and on his own skull his violence descends. I mean, that is unbelievable. And they don't hunt fairly. They say mean things, and they will do anything to bring revenge on the godly, but they don't do it fairly. They don't They entrap them secretly and maybe even diabolically because they can't legitimately run them down and shoot them. That's a bad hunter. Spurgeon, again, the last time I'm going to quote him, he says this: our enemies will not meet us to the face or face to face, for they fear us as much as they pretend to despise us. But that mischief will return on his own head. He casts forth evil from his mouth, and it has fallen into his bosom. He has set his own house on fire with the torch which he lit to burn his neighbor. Curses are like chickens. They always come home to roost, he says. We use that phrase still, don't we? This was written a long time ago. But he set his own house on fire with the torch which he lit to burn his neighbor. So David was so confident in his innocence that when he began to think about what wicked men could do to him, he realized that their methods never succeed. Never in God's eyes. They dig a pit, and who falls in it? Himself, the one who digs it. He lights a fire to light that house on fire. What happens? He burns his own house down. That's the nature and the fanatical, I guess is the best way to put it, the fanatical character that comes with this kind of slander and accusations. They become so obsessed with trying to bring about the demise of someone else that they screw it up and they end up being hurt themselves. So that's good. That's kind of good stuff for us on both sides. It's good for us because if people do that to us, and we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I have determined that I am not guilty in this, I am innocent in this matter, I have to somehow deal with it, and deal with it in this way. If I am not innocent, I need to do something to fix it. I don't know how many times if someone has come to you and confronted you about something. Those are really serious times. Those are strenuous times. They cause pain, and yet the result, if done correctly, even as Jesus laid it out, if it's done correctly, great healing can take place. David was one that, in this instance, didn't need the healing part, but he definitely needed to know that God was on his side. And without that, we are of all men most miserable. He has cast forth evil from his mouth, and it has fallen into his bosom. And his chickens will come home to roost. So you think about that, not only in David's time, but golly, that was, millennia ago that this was written, long time ago. Now we find ourselves in 2019, and we're facing the exact same thing that he faced. But now, instead of looking forward to someone who's going to fix it, we look back and we see who came 2,000 years ago to fix the very problem that David was talking about. David couldn't live a 100% perfect life. He couldn't and he didn't. But he trusted God in times of trouble and allowed him to fix it. So the enemies can sometimes be, and I know we're sheltered a little bit in this country, but enemies of Christ can be extremely diabolical. And when you take a diabolical scheme, which is usually made up of one lie upon another lie upon another lie, they're extremely hard to fight and defeat. We see some of that. You experience that. I experience that in the country in which we live. But around the world, there have been those sort of things ever since Jesus came. There have been those that have been persecuted for his name unfairly, right? Unjustly. And to this day, that still happens. But there will come a time when all that will come to an end. because God is faithful and he will not leave us alone. So that leads us to the very last point, and that is verse 17 all by itself. The innocent man praises his God. I will give to the Lord the thanks due his righteousness, and I will sing praise to the name of the Lord the Most High. Now that part of the song I can really get. That gives me hope, that gives me rest, that gives me peace. The rest of it sometimes can cause a lot of turmoil in my life. But when I come to this verse, I will sing praise to the name of the Lord, the Most High. Nothing has changed on the outside, but David has definitely changed on the inside. Another commentator put it this way, not Spurgeon this time, okay? Somebody else. God's righteousness is our hope. Can you imagine a world where there is not final justice? Where liars have the last word, where the powerful crush the weak with no consequences ever, where government inspectors get away scot-free with bribes, where murders go unsolved forever, and where someone steals and is never caught. We exist to please our Maker. And he doesn't blink an eye or close his eyes to what's going on in this world. He knows exactly who, what, where, why, and how all this gets manifested. So we may be falsely accused. Maybe that's happened to you. Maybe it's happened to you recently. You cry out to him and you trust him to judge. Remember this. You may think God is silent when you are going through this trial. His patience is one of long suffering. We bear this willingly and unselfishly. Why? In the hope that someone may be led to Jesus as a result. As a result of how we handled it. Eileen read a devotional to me last night from just a real short thing from August 9th, which was the day before yesterday. And it quotes out of Psalm 22, which is the psalm that Jesus most likely recited on the cross itself. It says, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me from the words of my groaning? Oh my God, I cry by day, but you do not answer, and by night, and I find no rest. And this writer says this, when God seems silent, and you feel as if your prayers are going unanswered, change is happening behind the scenes. Even if you don't feel it, you're developing a deeper faith and a greater knowing. Wait patiently for his perfect timing. How patient do you think David was? Probably wasn't any more patient than you or me. We want answers. And yet when we rest in the fact that God will do what he set out to do. There's a beginning with God, not with him personally, but in our minds there's a beginning and an end to this whole story. I kind of look forward to that day. When he seems silent and you feel as if your prayers are going unanswered. You ever felt that way? I have. Remember this, things are happening behind the scenes. And he does not sleep. Amen? Let's close in prayer. Father, we thank you, Lord, for this psalm. We thank you, Father, for sometimes just how picturesque some of this evil part can be. And we just want to acknowledge to you, Lord, that sometimes that is overwhelming to us. And these kind of things cause pain and cause divisions, cause all kinds of things among the human race. And so, Father, I just want to acknowledge to you today that as a child of yours, that we would, Lord, submit ourselves totally unto you in such a way that fear of retribution would be gone, that there would be an assurance in our life of innocence, but most of all, that there be assurance, Father, that by faith we have become part of your family, and that someday you will bring all this to conclusion, either as we go to be with you or as you invade history and change things now. So we submit ourselves to you this morning, Father. And even as we celebrate communion today, Lord, I just ask that you would just invade our lives in such a way that we would never be tempted to do anything that would go against your will, but that everything that we do and say would be pleasing to you. And that, Lord, as we go through trials, that, Lord, there would be a result that if someone is watching, that person would recognize that God is at work in us. We thank you for this church. We thank you, Lord, for this congregation that comes together today to worship and to praise and to give you thanks. And Lord, we trust you as David did today. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, we close as we always do with the Lord's table, with communion. And I want to read where oftentimes we go in 1 Corinthians when we do this. Communion is one of the, communion and baptism, those two things that we do in the church, those two, if you want to call them sacraments or whatever you want to call them, those two things we do as believers. As believers, we acknowledge that we want to be baptized. As believers, we want to share in the Lord's table because we want to remember what it is he has done for us and what he continues to do. So it's kind of a family affair. So it's open to everybody. You don't have to be a member of this church for taking communion. You simply have to be a believer to make it mean anything to you and to me. So that's when Paul says, for I received from the Lord that which I also delivered to you, that the Lord Jesus, on the same night in which he was betrayed, he took bread. And when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. In the same manner, he also took the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes. Therefore, whoever eats this bread or drinks this cup of the Lord in an unworthy manner will be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. But let a man examine himself. And so let him eat of the bread and drink of the cup. Examine, test ourselves, examine whatever comes to mind before we partake in communion. Is always good to clear and erase that blackboard of things that we need to either ask forgiveness for or things that we need to remember about him that we maybe forgot during the week. We get busy all the time. And for us to take this just a few minutes to partake in something so simple as the bread and the juice, the broken body and the shed blood of Christ means a whole lot to a believer. So what we do is you come forward. On your right and on your left, there will be people standing there to pray for you if you desire. If you want to come to the middle right here, you can do that privately. Also in the back, there'll be somebody there as well to minister to you if you desire. But God bless you, and let's just pray one more time. Father, I thank you, Lord, for this communion time, for this Lord's table. Lord, it means so much to us as a family, as a family of believers, to recognize that really the entire life that we live is wrapped around Jesus, wrapped around what he did, wrapped around how he was raised from the dead, and how he was raised for our justification to save us from our own sin. Just as he saved David, Father, you save us. And we thank you, Father, for that. And just bless us as we take part in Jesus' name. Amen.
As the deer panteth for the water, so my soul longeth after thee. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only, God. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only, God.
Love you. Let's pray before we go. Father, thank you for being our defense, our rock that we can look forward to, that we can look toward in times of trouble and distress. As we head our ways this week, Lord, as we go out in the world, Yeah, Lord, I just pray that you would protect each and every one here, and Lord, just help us to look to you as we face those. Help us to look to you. We love you. We thank you. Amen. All right. See you guys next week.
When wonders of these years, so my soul